I would love to pass the mic over to Jay, aka JnF from Bandcamp. He is a developer at Bandcamp, and I honestly feel like what they're able to tell us about the future of Bandcamp, the future of music in the tech space, but also his journey throughout learning technology and through music. They've really been able to change the world through music. I don't know, Jay, if you feel that way, but the fact that you're programming, that your programs, that your team's programs are allowing artists to put food on their table. Sometimes we don't really see the bigger picture that way, but we want to give you your flowers here. But without any further ado, JnF.
Hey, everybody hear me? Thank you for the incredibly kind intro, and thank you for inviting me today. Army, Eli, the moment we met, I felt a kinship. There was an energy, there was an alignment. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today, because Eli, I think you set it up exactly right? Like this bigger picture of what music does. And we can talk all day about what music does for the spirit, what music does for the community. But I want to talk about how we're going to use music to transform society. So I'm a little out of breath because I was making coffee. So bear with me for a moment. I'm on the West Coast, I'm in Seattle. So it's 10 a.m. on a Saturday. That's how much I love this program. I'm giving you my Saturday morning. Also, Eurovision finals are in an hour. If you like your Eurovision, I'm really excited about that. So anyway, I really like Yusuf's bit, and I'm gonna steal it, about starting with a quote. And a quote about that is like, good artists borrow, great artists steal, right? So I'm being great at stealing. Music is healing. Write that down first. That is the opening line of Prince's autobiography, and it is the organizing principle of Bandcamp. I'm not here just to like shill for a company, although they do pay me to do exactly that. So you're gonna get like this much of that. But I also wanna like talk about like why I'm doing it. I live in Seattle. I live right around the corner from the Crocodile, one of the most legendary punk rock venues. It was the place I dreamed about being when I was a young, queer, Latinx kid growing up in a trailer park in South Texas. It's just, I couldn't imagine a life that would take me there. And technology was that vehicle. Growing up, my dad and my uncles would tell me, like, you've got 3 ways out of this life. There's the oil field where we all work, and we're old men by the time we're 40. There's jail, and there's education. So choose, make a choice, commit. I chose education, and it worked out for me. And that's significant because we live in a society where the greatest predictor of success is the zip code you're born into. That is a heavy truth. And so I feel grateful every day to have escaped that and done something different. And now I see it as my purpose, my involvement in all of this, to give that same opportunity to others. What I love about Bandcamp is we're the stage, right? We build this stage for you and all the other incredible independent artists out there to stand on, to be heard, to be seen, to share your truth. When Triz was talking about his track, it really stood out to me, the line, like, change that generational energy. I love that. I wrote it down. It's in my little notes here on my screen that I'm pointing at for some reason. You can't see me doing that. But it's a generational problem. It took generations to get us where we are. It will take generations to get us out. And we are just all part of that process. And in my initial conversations with Army and Eli about EW and T.RAP, we had that same conversation. Like, we are going to plant the seeds of trees whose shade we will never know. And that is my transition to tell you that this is the shady part of the presentation. So I have a really great job. I love working at Bandcamp. I love this intersection of music and tech. When people are new to tech, they sometimes think it's kind of like this cold thing. There's like this rigidity. There's this notion of correctness. There's a right way to do it, you know? They think computers are these alien, sterile things. And they're not. They're made by people. And all technology is a reflection of the people who made it. It is an expression of their viewpoint on the world. And that's why, like, if you want to go learn JavaScript, or you want to go learn Python, or you want to go learn Rust, it's just like you got to get a little bit into the headspace of the people who made it. And to me, that's what listening to music is like. It's an opportunity to step into the shoes, into the soul of somebody else and understand their world. And there is no notion of correctness, right? Like, technology is inherently flawed because people are flawed, but technology is inherently beautiful because people are beautiful. The same can be said of music. And just like, I want one more connection between technology and music, man. It's like, it's jazz, right? It's the notes you don't play. It's like understanding the spaces and the breath and the flow and the rhythm. And it's the same thing in code. Like, the people that I work with every day, I get to know them, and I can open up files in our repositories and recognize who wrote them just by the shape of the lines. Just like you can put on a record and hear a trumpet and know who you're listening to by the shape of the notes. I love that. I think they're so much closer than a lot of people realize. And that makes doing this job every day deeply, deeply rewarding. I get to do this a lot. It's like the cool part of my job. I'm like the outreach and developer relations manager. And here's how I open these talks when I go and like talk to like developers and stuff. Fans bought 96,256 albums on Bandcamp yesterday. 96,256 albums on Bandcamp yesterday. Today they'll buy about that much. Like, Fridays are definitely our hottest day, where we do about 15% more day over day on Fridays. I think it's because people get paid on Fridays. That's definitely when I do my shopping. But here's like the next bit that I want to say to you as artists. 96,256 albums bought by fans yesterday. Those artists got paid today. I think that is like the critical piece that Bandcamp doesn't talk about enough. You go put your music on the DSPs. Like I said, this is the shade portion. You go put your music on the DSPs, you're looking at like a quarterly payout at best. They're going to hold your money for 3 months. And I know, like, you're waiting on those fractions of pennies. Bandcamp, we have poured thousands and thousands of engineering hours into making sure that we can pay artists as quickly and reliably as possible. And we pay, like, on average, an artist takes home 82 cents of every dollar spent on Bandcamp. That's a position worth fighting for. And I'm really proud of that, because it's hard. That means, like, over on the engineering side, we think a lot about what are our cost centers? How are we managing ourselves so that we can continue to deliver that promise that music, artistry, expression should be a thing you can do to feed your family, to take care of the people around you, and to build a career. And I don't think you can do it on fractions of a penny. 82 cents on the dollar ain't bad. We're always looking for ways to do that better. That's my job recruitment pitch. You know, if you're like wondering how we could get to 83 cents, like, I'm having that conversation, hit me up, let's talk. And I feel like this crowd immediately understands why that's important. Hold on, I wrote down something else. Where was it? Man, I took a lot of notes while everybody was talking. I'm still tripping over Cortez. I can't believe it was here. Listen to like his line, like, you're in a race with yourself. That's just kind of like going around in circles in my head. And can't stop. But something Army said also really stuck with me. Where was it? Technology is a vehicle for social justice. Like, yeah. The thing is like, we can't put our energy towards those things if we're not able to meet our basic needs, if we're not able to meet our obligations, if we're not able to have some safety in the world around us. And in the society we live in, like, money is the shortcut to safety. And so, like, if Bandcamp can reliably deliver to artists the money they've earned, the love as expressed by buying albums from their fans as quickly and reliably as possible, well, then we meet those basic needs and artists can go about their real work of changing the world. That's important to me because there are people like Justin Kim, this young Korean American kid in LA, recording shoegaze rock in his dorm room in a basement, releasing on Bandcamp under the name Suave Punk, and it just melts me. It's one of those tracks you put on and like you have to sit down because your legs go wobbly. And I could talk to you about like the huge names, the people that get into the press releases when they sign or when they start selling music on Bandcamp, but that's not, I don't want you to go away thinking about that. I want you thinking about Suave Punk, Justin Kim. I hope when Army and Eli invite me back next year, because obviously they will, because I'm incredible, I'll be talking about all of you. I'll be talking about Triz as being like the name to remember. You take away from this. Angie, it's the name you remember. You take away from this. Maybe even Army, like that track was all right. You know, I feel like there's promise there. The last thing I kind of want to talk, and then I promise I'll let the floor go. Like, by the way, never give me a microphone if we're in person, because I don't stop. Is like Bandcamp was recently acquired, right? Like other companies looked at us and was like, huh, they figured something out. And so we're part of Epic Games now. And that's weird. That's weird. Like there's 100 people who work at Bandcamp. We've paid out $1 billion to artists over 10 2 and we've never been larger than 109 people, which is where we are today, 109. 112 when my intern started two weeks. And now we're part of Epic Games. The thing is, like, Epic Games has an embarrassing amount of money. Like, it's kind of weird. But they do good things with it. I don't know if anybody saw this, but like they Fortnite is their big money maker, which is a very weird video game, and it's how I knew I was old because I didn't understand it. They took a month worth of Fortnite's earnings, which turned out to be $140 million 1 month, and donated it to 5 organizations doing humanitarian relief work in the Ukraine, just because it was the right thing to do. And so I'm a little intimidated and worried being part of a company that's bigger, being part of a group that I don't have as much insight into. But when I see things like that, I'm hopeful for a future. And I'm hopeful for a future that relies on the independence, the creatives, the creative economy. And that's the other thing Epic does really, really well. Like there are people who make a living building maps for Fortnite. Like that's their gig and people love it. And there's an economy around that. And that's what technology is going to enable. We are going to tear down, dismantle existing systems of power and replace them with more equitable, more just new systems. And that is the future of technology, and that is the future that we are all a part of. So thank you so much for inviting me, letting me be a part of this. I'm extremely excited for what the future holds. I'm gonna drop my email into the chat when I stop talking in 16, 17 seconds. And if you're curious about how to get your music on Bandcamp, if you're curious about how to use the platform to reach a wider audience, email me, let's talk. I'll put you in contact with the right people. I want to see where this goes. So thanks so much, friends.
Make some noise for JnF. Wow.